You know what I'm saying? Even if you feel like you're above the 3D now and you're all about, mental, cognitive, 5D, vibration, blah, 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 this one, that one. Never you also ignore the base laws which you all started from. No. Welcome to the part 2 of the Venn paradox. Yeah. Let's continue from where we stopped. Matter is nonetheless matter to us while we dwell on the plane of matter. Although we know it to be merely an aggregation of electrons or particles of force vibrating rapidly and gyrating around each other in the formation of atoms. The atoms in turn vibrating and gyrating, forming molecules which later in turn form larger masses of matter. Nor does matter become less matter when we follow the inquiry still further and learn from the Hermetic teachings that the force of which the electrons are but units, merely a manifestation of the mind of the all, and like all else in the universe is purely mental in its nature. So this is going back to us talking about how everything in the universe is in the mind of the all and how the universe is mental. And yeah, whenever I hear the word gyrating, I feel like laugh is funny, like gyrating, like gyrating. Like that's funny. It's funny, it's a funny word. Anyway, why did you just start talking about gyrating as a word? God, my hair. I don't just want to use my curly hair today because I just want to be blonde. I want to feel like a blonde bitch, you know what I'm saying? Blonde motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? I'm all balayage though. This is what they call balayage. Balay. I'm making a video. Anyway. When on the plane of matter, we must recognize its phenomena. We may control matter as masters of higher or lesser degree do, but we do so by applying the higher forces. We commit folly, I mean like foolishness, not folly. We commit foolishness when we attempt to deny the existence of matter in its relative aspects. We may deny its mastery over us, and rightly so, but we should not attempt to ignore it in its relative aspects, at least so long as we dwell upon its plane. You know what I'm saying? Even if you feel like you're above the 3D now and you're all about, mental, cognitive, 5D, vibration, blah, 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 this one, that one. Never you also ignore the base laws which you all started from. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever ignore those, beginning laws. Don't ignore matter. In this case, we're just talking about matter. I mean, don't feel like we superstar, because just know what you know and let it be. Still respect whatever you always known, and you know what I'm saying? Let's just as dwell upon the plane. But we should not attempt to ignore it in its related aspect, as at least so long as we dwell upon it. Not the laws of nature become less constant or effective when we know them. Likewise, merely mental creation. So we overcome the lower laws by applying still higher ones, and in this way, but we cannot escape law or rise above it entirely. So don't try to be over the top with whatever you're thinking about. Nothing but the all can escape law, and that's because the all is law itself, from which all laws emerge. The most advanced masters may acquire the powers usually attributed to the gods of men, and there are countless ranks of being in the great hierarchy of life whose being and power transcends even that of the highest masters among men to a degree unthinkable by mortals. But even the highest master and the highest being must bow to the law and be as nothing in the eyes of the all. And so that even if these highest beings whose powers must exceed even those attributed by men to their gods, if even these are bound by and are subservient to the law, then imagine the presumption of mortal man of our race and grade when he dares to consider the law of nature as unreal, visionary, and illusionary, because he happens to be able to grasp the truth that the laws are mental in nature and simply mental creations of the all. Those laws which the all intends to be governing laws and not to be defined or argued away. So long as the universe endures, will they endure, for the universe exists by the virtue of these laws, which form its framework and which hold it together. What this thing is saying is that don't just be presumptuous because you know a little bit, or because you have had a little bit about the law of attraction or this and that, and you're trying to not like still like work towards doing something and say okay, all the laws are, everything is mental, everything is going to happen mentally. Because that's the mistake I see a lot of people making. Even here on YouTube, everybody just trying to do everything by manifesting it and so on. You still have to work. You still have to you have learned what you learned, but you don't have to sit there in one place and be like, yeah, I know this thing now and I'm just going to mentalize everything. You still have to go out and live your normal life, but you are different now because you know something different now. That's what this generally the divine paradox is trying to say. I don't just want to cut any part out of it. Even I can just tell you this in 2 sentences, but let's just go through the book. So the hermetic principle of mentalism, while explaining the true nature of the universe upon the principle that all is mental, does not change the scientific conceptions of the universe, life, or evolution. In fact, science merely corroborates the hermetic teachings. What this means is that don't try to say you don't believe in science because you have heard about something easier, 1 hermetic principle that you can believe in, or 1 law of attraction thing that you can believe in. Don't say okay, because of that everybody's deceiving themselves. No, you don't do that. You still have to like be normal, calm down. The law of hermetic principle is not against any religion or against science. Actually, it actually agrees with it if you actually calm down to listen to it. If you actually like look at it, let's keep changing my position. Anyway, I don't even know how I was at the beginning of the video itself. So the letter merely teaches that the nature of the universe is mental, while modern science has taught that it is material, or of late that it is energy. At the last analysis, the hermetic teachings have no fault to find with the Albert Spencer basic principle, which postulates the existence of an infinite and eternal energy from which all things proceed. In fact, the hermetics realize in Spencer's philosophy the highest outside statement of the workings of the natural laws that have ever been promulgated, and they believe Spencer have been they believe Spencer to have been a reincarnation of an ancient philosopher who dwelt in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, who later incarnated as Heraclitus, the Grecian philosopher who lived 500 BC, and then regard his statement as the infinite and eternal energy as directly in line with the hermetic teachings, always with the addiction of their own doctrine that his energy is the energy of the mind of the all. What is saying? I think this guy, what's his name? Albert Spencer is one of his writer. I think he's a scientific writer or something. He wrote a book about energy and something, and he said that there's an infinite and eternal energy in his book, and the hermetics actually believe. And then he was actually trying. I don't know whether it was against them or something, but like the last they actually believe the same thing, but they are like different people. And just that the hermetics believe that his energy, the eternal energy that Albert Spencer was talking about, is the all. And them, that they're crazy. They believe him to be a reincarnated ancient philosopher or something. So like the craziness continues with the master. The craziness continues. You know what I'm saying? Of the all. With the master key of the hermetic philosophy, whose work shows the result of the preparation of his previous incarnations, his teachings regarding evolution and redeem are almost perfect agreements with the hermetic teachings regarding the principle of redeem. You know what I'm saying? Albert Spencer, I actually wrote it down here and I'm going to look into Albert Spencer, but I didn't. So like maybe next time. Like I was reading the all in all. That's the next after the divine paradox. Like I think there's one book I also want to review, the Urantia book. It's a very kind of racist book. That book will be very interesting to review. I'm going to do that, but also I want to look at this Albert Spencer's book too, but not yet. I forgot to look into it. I'll look into it. So the student of hermeneutics need not lay aside any of his cherished scientific views regarding the universe. All he is asked to do is to grasp the underlying principle of the all is mind, the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. You will find that the other 6 of the 7 principles will fit into a scientific knowledge and will serve to bring out obscure points and to know the light in dark corners. All you are saying that if you are a scientist or if you believe in science or whatever you believe in, yes, you should still look into it, because the hermetic principle is a universal principle and might give you more insight in whatever you believe in. If you're a doctor, if you're an atheist, you're a gnosticist, whatever you just think you are, the hermetic principle can help you one way or another, and doesn't really take away from your belief. It actually support your belief. So that's what to say, especially if you're a scientific person, to help you, because you studying the hermetic principle, you actually know what your fellow scientists or your fellow students or doctors don't know. So you will be able to see things where they are not able to see it. So you'll be able to bring out points from where they are not able to see the point. You're able to bring out obscure point. This is not to be wondered at when we realize the influence of the hermetic thought on the early philosophers of Greece, upon whose foundations of thought the theories of modern science largely rest. The acceptance of the first hermetic principle, mentalism, is the only great point difference between modern science and hermetic students. And science is gradually moving towards the hermetic position in its grouping in the dark for a way out of the labyrinth into which it has wandered into the search for reality. The purpose of this chapter is to impress upon the minds of our students the fact that, to all intents and purposes, the universe and its laws and its phenomena are just as real, so far as man is concerned, as they would be under the hypothesis of materialism and energism. Under any hypothesis, the universe in its outer aspect is changing, ever flowing and transitory, and therefore devoid of substantiality and reality. But note the other pole of the truth. Under any of these same hypotheses, we are compelled to act and live as if the fleeting things were real and substantial, with this difference always between the various and the hypotheses. So under old views, mental power was ignored as a natural force, while under mentalism it becomes the greatest natural force. And this one difference revolutionizes life to those who understand the principle and resulting laws and practice. So finally, grasp the advantage of mentalism and learn to know, use and apply the laws resulting from it. You understand? Resulting therefrom. But do not yield to the temptation which, as the Kabbalah states, overcomes the half-wise and which causes them to be hypnotized by the apparent unreality of things. So the consequence being that they wander about like dream people, dwelling in a world of dreams, ignoring the practical work and life of man. The end being that they are broken against rocks and torn asunder by the elements by the reason of their folly. So use law against law, the higher against the lower, and the art of alchemy transmutes that which is undesirable into that which is worthy and triumph. But what you're trying to say is that you just have to find a way to be able to use law against law. I'm not trying to like jump yourself away or try to be like, the universe is mental and everything is mental, and you just start living like you're in a dream. Because if you start living like you're in a dream, then you'll be living like a sleepwalker. Things will just be passing by you, and because of that, the fact that you don't want to accept that or the other half part of the truth, you're going to miss out on a lot. But if you accept the relativity of things and you accept the other half part of the truth, you will not it will actually help you in whatever your endeavor is. So that's Science China saying. Following Following the authority, let us avoid the half wisdom, which is folly, which ignores the truth that mastery consists not of abnormal dreams, vision, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower plane by vibrating in the higher plane mentally. When you are physically, you are acting according to the rules of matter and the laws of matter. But when you want to use the higher laws against the lower laws mentally, you take all the laws into consideration into your mind and bring out a solution for yourself for a particular situation mentally. You don't just jump the gun and assume. So remember, always that transmutation, not presumption denial is the weapon of the master. And don't ever believe people that are having fantastic dreams and telling you that hey, I went in my dream, I was in heaven and I went down to hellfire and this one down. Yeah, if you want to say that it's a fiction or you are writing the book or you are making a movie, yeah, say that, but don't try to impose it on people. I'm talking to actually pastors now that form things. Don't impose it on people and try to bring your fantastic imaginings or your dreams and say all the real things happening to people is not real. Your dream is the real thing. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not be that kind of spiritualist. So we do not live in a world of dreams, but in a universe which, while relative, is real so far as our lives and actions are concerned. So it's relative and it's real to us. But our business in the universe is not to deny its existence, but to live using the laws to rise from lower to the higher, living on, doing the best that we can under the circumstances arising each day, and living so far as is possible to our highest ideas and ideals. The true meaning of life is not known to men on this plane, if indeed to any, but the highest authorities and our own intuitions teach us that we will make no mistake in living up to the best that is in us so far as is possible, and realizing the universal tendency in the same direction in spite of apparent evidences to the contrary. We are all on the path and the road leads upwards, ever with frequent resting planes. The half-wise avoiding the mistake of the half-wise who perish by reason of their folly. So that's the divine paradox for you. Thanks for watching. Don't ever believe in half-truths. Don't ever believe in absolute truths without considering the relative ones. And I know you know the meaning of absolute and relative now. You know the difference. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and welcome to my channel. And bye. Stick around, watch other videos, and love and life. Now let me go and react to Candace Owens, because why not? It's something to do. Let me snake out.